My name is Josh Moran. Um, I am 35 years old, and I've been sober for about just over 7 months. I got sober because I couldn't deal with it anymore. I tried for years. I did the methadone program. That didn't work out. I was functioning for a long time, so I was able to float, just keep just a little bit of air coming in, you know. I hurt my family a lot, but I didn't see that. I was kind of enabled, which isn't good. I mean, it was good at the time, but looking back, it was probably the worst thing for me. And I don't blame them for that because they were just trying to help their son out. It was mainly financially type stuff, like if I didn't want to pay a car payment, bills would show up at the house. I'd get, be like, you got to pay this, got to pay this, got to pay this, and I would just put it off and they'd pay it. So, it wasn't like they were just shelling cash out to me, even though they knew where it was going. But, so I floated for a bit. I mean, let's say I basically been using drugs since I was 12, Didn't start off with the hard drugs, drinking, smoking pot, psychedelics, high school, and then it got, heavier and heavier. I knew I had a problem for a long time, but like I said, I was functioning. I dealt with it. Stopped doing one drug for a while, picked up another one, just kind of, trading vices, I guess. But it got real bad, I'd say, November, December last year. I met a girl, and she was not good for me. And she liked to do all the same things I did. So it was kind of like off and running, and she had some other issues, her family was really messed up. I care for people, so even though my life was crumbling, I stuck around because I wanted to help her when I couldn't help her because I couldn't help myself. So it got to the point to where intervention came in from my family, and I'm Italian, huge Italian family, so it's like family is first, period. So when they came to me with that, I was like, yep, let's do it. Rehab, 35, 40 days, boom, did that. I just played the system just to be like, oh, I'm good, hey, I'm cured. So got out of there, and the girlfriend picked me right up out of treatment, right back to it. So in a span of, I'd say, 2 weeks, I spent around $3,500 just on anything I could get. And then one of the, I still remember to this day, I was supposed to go see my nephew's football game, and I forgot to put an alarm. Phone was wherever it was. I don't remember what I did with it. It was a long night of debauchery. And I remember I was just slumped over on the couch, and I woke up to my sister staring at me, and they thought I was good after the first rehab, and just the look on her face was just like I was defeated. I didn't have anything to say, and I'm usually good at manipulating people, be like, oh, this is the reason for this, but I was just like, I can't do it anymore, So, I went and stayed at her house for a little bit, like about a week. She took my keys, took my phone, took my wallet, and I felt at peace with that. I was fine. Because, I knew I had to get something done. I knew I had to get my life back together, and I finally hit bottom. I thought I've hit bottom before, but that was just financial bottom. It wasn't spiritual. It wasn't just seeing what I've done to my family, you know, like truly, you know. So when they were like, we have this place, you know, it's far from home, but here's the plane ticket, you know. I could have taken off running, you know, but I was done, you know. So I'm glad I did it. Like, I love my life right now. You know, I get to help people. I'm trusted, which is, it's new for me, you know, like, you know, my family told me when last party we went to, they were like, it's crazy that you've only been to the bathroom one time this whole time, because I'd be in there constantly, like, you know, but now I get to see the little things and take them in for what they are, you know, and like actually cherish things that I should have focused on and been worried about, you know, like in the past, you know. But I mean, that's all I knew was drinking and drugging, man, you know.
Did you ever think you were going to die?
Yes. Yeah.
So give me context around that.
Well, with the heroin, I've overdosed a couple times. I remember the one time that got me into the methadone, you know, was I woke up and like my dog is my everything, you know, like I had just broken up with a girlfriend at the time and she was the one, you know, but she wasn't down with me just not caring, you know. Like, she was older than me, she had a kid, and, you know, it's like I'd give anything to go back there and put in the work to be the man, you know, like the man of the house, take care of her daughter, take care of her, you know, like that's what I would say to her, be like, oh yeah, you know, like, oh, you need help with groceries or something, and then the time would come and I'd dip out. I'd spend the money on drugs, you know. So she kicked me to the curb and I was like, oh, you know, oh, pity me, you know, like you did this to me, you know, like, so I would try and just purposely overdose, try and kill myself, you know, but I didn't really have the balls for it, you know, it just, and plus I feel like I'd fall out before I even reached that amount because I never used a needle, you know, so, so I remember one of those nights, I remember I fell out and I just woke up on the ground, you know, my dog had her dog had her head on my chest, you know, and that was like, I'm like, all right, you know, like, I need to go another route, you know, like, and I started leaving stuff around, you know, started trying to hint my family, you know, that I was using, you know, so I would just leave my dope bags around. You know, just because my ego's too, I'm not going to ask for help. I could do it on my own, but if you catch me, then I'll be like, oh, okay, you know. So I did the methadone for a bit, and then obviously I'm like, oh, I could use again, you know, like, since it didn't work the first time, I could probably just like, you know, use heroin like a gentleman. The change, I didn't really feel a change until I got to that point to where I was right before I took that plane ride out here. You know, well, first off, I have asthma and heroin was just destroying my lungs, you know, so there were a few times where I ended up in the hospital with walking pneumonia, couldn't breathe, my blood ox was like 70, you know, maybe even below. I felt like an old man getting up in the morning to go to the bathroom, you know, like stopping to breathe. You know, and I even did heroin in the hospital bed, you know, at night, because I smuggled a little bit in there because I was like, maybe I'll need that, you know. And, you know, I started thinking like my health, I'm like, I can't, you know, like I don't want to, and having asthma attacks, if you ever had one, it is terrible. Like that fish out of water commercial where that fish is just breathing air and you can see it's not having a good time. That's exactly what it feels like. It's the most helpless feeling, because then the panic rushes in, and it's terrible. So that's happened a few times, just trying to call out for help, but my room was the corner room, nobody could hear me, like scary. So I that's when I quit heroin, but then I was like, fuck it, cocaine. I could do that, But I worked in a restaurant, so it was drinking every night. Drinking cocaine is like meat and potatoes. I mean, it's just, how it was. My dealer worked there too, and he would front me. So it was like, but I didn't feel the change, like inside, like mentally, it was always there. I was always quick to be like, yes, I want to stop, but that obsession I had, it wasn't like even the way it made me feel, but it was just the action of blowing a line of coke, just the ritual of, drug use is what I was addicted to more than the effects, so it was just, that obsession, it was always there, even though I knew I couldn't do it anymore, and it definitely took coming out here and meeting people, is like sober people, all my friends were dirtbags. I don't even think I should call them friends. They were just associates.
So tell me more about that. How important is human connection to your recovery?
Human connection is huge. Huge. For me, I have that codependency, and it's like definitely self-seeking, but it's like I enjoy giving other people advice. I enjoy being able to help somebody, and it's like I wasn't able to do that when I was in my addiction. And that's why, working steps, I've never done that before until I took that trip out here. It was, because I was never really super religious, so the whole God thing was, I don't know, I don't need that, But once you hear people like talk about it, who have done it and who it's working for, it's a game changer, man. It definitely is, and you just put it in your life, normal life. Like being I just talked about this earlier with somebody. Be like, oh, you got normal people things to do today, like, and that's cool, man. Like, I never thought being sober was cool, but I've laughed more sober than I have messed up, at least that I remember, because when you're blacked out, I could have a great time, but I don't know what happened, It's like I enjoy seeing people, I enjoy everybody around me, like I have, definitely more sober friends in my phone, from the past 7 months than I've had since I've had this number for years, like it's just wild. And somebody told me that when I came in, and I was like, they'd scroll their phone, like, see all that? Those are all people I met, in the program. And I don't know how much more I could say that how happy and grateful and thankful I am just to have got this opportunity to, be a man, straight up. Like, I didn't do anything for anybody when I was using, thought I did, thought I was the shit, but I wasn't anything, and now I want to be more and more each day, like I want to give back to the people that stood in my corner when I was at my worst.
Good stuff, man.
Thank you.